What's going on? Welcome to Shooting the Schmitz. Your boy Jonathan, Zack Gray joining again. I did a video on this a couple days ago. I've had a few days just to kind of calm down from my Dallas Mavericks. Moving Luka to Zack Gray's Los Angeles Lakers. Or more like Zack Gray's LeBron James's. Is that more accurate?
Yeah, it could be any city. It will be city LeBron's for me until he retires, and then fondly
Bronny James.
enough, fondly enough, it'll be the whatever city Lucas. So I'm living the high life right now.
Yeah, I'll let you go first. The audience has heard my thoughts once before already, so just go ahead.
Yeah, I don't. We've heard a lot of reporting since the trade happened about what this could possibly be attributed to. Crazy stuff we've heard, drinking, weird stuff. And there's not a single reason other than maybe this calf is like long term and the injury is going to be something that plagues him for his entire career. That is even very, 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 very big of a stretch for me. Like, there's no reason that this trade goes through for me. And like, Jonathan, think about it this way, right? I know this is you discussed this on your video, but the contract is 4 years. So you're signing up till age 29. That's a risk you have to take 10 times out of 10. Even if it doesn't work out, up till now, you have to take that chance. And I say all this to say this. Nico Harrison, this feels like a power play. This feels like he thinks that he's the reason this all works. And he thinks that he doesn't want anyone else to get it's very weird. And the press conference was really weird. It freaked me out. It was the way they were talking about it was weird. You could tell Jason Kidd was like kind of
dejected,
yeah,
sad.
And it was just like Nico Harrison made a decision to where everyone could say, "Look at me, look at Nico Harrison, look how crazy I am, look how awesome I am. I've gotten all these praises already for getting Gafford and PJ Washington, and everyone already thinks I'm great. Look how great I am." And this feels like one of those situations where hubris is the downfall of man.
What I find really funny about that interview clip with Nico Harrison is he has a quote in there where he says, "I don't make scary trades." Meanwhile, he traded for Kyrie Irving when Kyrie was at the peak craziness. Nobody wanted him, and then you just traded Luka Doncic. What do you mean?
Or Anthony Davis.
Crazy trades. Thank you. That is the most frustrating part about this. Like, you traded for a guy in Anthony Davis who's been better these last few years in terms of playing games, but he's 31. You know, talk about a guy with a history of injuries. Just go back to his time when he was with the Pelicans, and like he was Mr. Street Clothes then. Like, he didn't play consistently until he got to LA. And guess what? He was supposed to play tonight, but he didn't because he has some abdominal strain. So, he's supposed to make his debut tonight, and he didn't play.
But you gotta think, Jay Smith, Max Christie's an Iron Man. Plays every night.
Good old Max Christie. It's the game changer for us.
But you're right, though. You're right. Like, Anthony Davis, like, here's the thing. You know how crazy the trade has to be where Anthony Davis is your return and people are looking at you like you're crazy?
People thought Shams got hacked.
That's what I'm saying. That's the level of player we're dealing with Luka. You trade a perennial first ballot basketball Hall of Famer, one of the best talents me or you have seen in our life. A team receives him and everyone says, "You're an idiot" because of who they gave away. Like that's I know that's what's happening, but really process that, people. Like, Anthony Davis is not just some guy. He's a multi-time All-NBA, all-defense,
NBA
superstar
champion
caliber player, and they still look like idiots.
That's exactly right. And I understand some of what Nico Harris is saying. Like, it's important to be able to play defense. If you remember Luka in the finals, didn't defend anybody, just kind of looked lost at some different points. But if you want to win an NBA title, true, you have to play defense, but you also have to have one of the, at most, 8 best players in the world. And you have to have multiple guys who can generate offense. Like if they had sent Luka to Milwaukee for Giannis, great defender, can generate offense, I'd still be very upset because you don't trade Luka Doncic when he's 25 years old.
Make way more sense though.
It would make way more sense. Like to go get a guy in Anthony Davis who, before LeBron James, never won anything, like couldn't even sneak into the playoffs as an 8 seed consistently, a guy who can't really generate his own offense, needs some help to do that, and to ask him and Kyrie Irving, who never won anything, when he was with Kevin Durant, he had to be with Luka Doncic or LeBron James to win anything. And to be like, these two guys, these are going to be our two main horses, a 31-year-old Anthony Davis, he turns 32 in March or April, and a 32-year-old Kyrie Irving. By the way, small guards in the NBA do not age well. Like they don't. Like the cliff is coming for Kyrie at some point. And it doesn't make any sense. And man.
I also think we forget that I think we have this like idea that Kyrie was like averaging 28 in the finals last year. He had good games. And that's where everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Kyrie is back. He had good games, but if you look back, he had a lot of duds. And like you don't get to the finals without Luka. So miss me with that defense stuff. Like if you you weren't even in this conversation without him. I don't care if Kyrie was on the team or not. You're not even in this conversation. You're not getting to a Western Conference Finals 2 years ago. You're not getting to the finals last year. Like Luka, I looked it up, was like 29, 8, and 6 in the finals. And it's like, okay, like sure, he might have played bad defense, but take him off the floor then and see what the score is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the other thing is, he's 25. Like
he's 3 years younger than me.
I know. He's my age, which is crazy. Here's the other thing that we have to remember though. Dirk Nowitzki, he's the best example for this for two reasons. One, when he came over from Europe, he didn't get it. Like he didn't get playing basketball in America. He didn't work out all summer. Like there was just a lot of things that he didn't do that we just kind of expect for players to do now. Say what you want about Luka and his conditioning, and I think a comp that's been thrown out is maybe he turns into the next Joel Embiid. That's why they got rid of him. Luka Doncic plays basketball all year because he just loves to play basketball. There are moments where I'm like, does Joel Embiid like basketball? Like it's probably not a fair question, but you know what I'm saying. Like the dude plays all year. He led the NBA in minutes played last year, and you want to talk about conditioning, really? And like hard minutes, like 40 minutes of being the only, offensive creator. And because he can't guard the opposing team's best player, he's usually guarding a shooter where he's chasing them all over the floor on defense. So like that part of it, just to bring up the conditioning, doesn't make any sense. Here's the other reason why this was a huge mistake by the Dallas Mavericks. How many free agents, like big-time superstar free agents, have ever even considered playing in Dallas?
DeAndre Jordan.
Okay. This feels like a reverse thing. Like usually I'd say something like that to you, but yeah, you're exactly right. And like the only legit superstar you've ever had, you had to draft. And they had to be from Europe because Europeans and Americans, which is a really important thing to remember here, are very different. Like Europeans are like, yes, work is important, but like we also need a social life. Us Americans, we're all about work all the time. And like it takes time for Europeans to kind of understand that. And like Luka just hadn't gotten to that point yet. And when he's the second best basketball player on the planet, there were times last year during that finals run where it looked like he was the best player on the planet. You can't get rid of him. I don't care if he's smoking a cigarette and eating a burger on his way up the floor. Like,
what are we doing?
Keep him.
What does it matter how about his process or what? Like, we're talking about something that hasn't happened. At no point in time has he ever been bad on the court. This is all projection for a guy who hasn't even hit his NBA prime yet. 27, 28. That's the basic NBA prime. We're projecting that the second best player in basketball who was dominating teams at 19 and 20 years old.
Nice touch.
What was that?
Did you see that? You had little balloons come up. You're on fire. What Throwing
That's
balloons
crazy.
away.
Anyway, we've seen him at 19 and 20 dominate the NBA, and he's only gotten better. He's only gotten more consistent. He's only gotten more confident. All of this stuff is like coming out of thin air. None of it has happened yet. Like we're looking here, and yeah, he hasn't played since Christmas Day this year, but he played 70 games last year. He's played 65 plus every year except his age 20 season. We complain about guys that play 60 games. Like we act like Joel Embiid never plays a basketball game when he plays 40 games. Like, so when Luka's playing 65 plus eligible for the NBA awards, that's the marker that everyone agreed to is enough games to play. He does that, and now all of a sudden he's not available. He doesn't play. Like, this is his first year being legitimately injured, and we're just blowing it up.
Do you know how many games Anthony Davis plays on average in his career?
4, 5?
55. On average, he plays 55 games a year. And the other thing with Luka that's really important to remember when you think about guys maturing and figuring out the process or whatever we want to call it, he's a dog. Like, that guy is one of the most competitive players in the NBA. And usually, really competitive guys figure it out at some point. And
hold on. Why do we act like he hasn't figured it out? He's clearly figured it out.
I mean, look, if you want to knock the weight and stuff, like, he usually is overweight. It doesn't matter because he's awesome. But like, if that's something that,
why does that matter? He's 25 years old. He's led his team to Western Conference Finals and NBA Finals.
Yeah.
What does the other stuff matter? Because you think he's overweight?
I will not disagree.
You, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah.
If there was any other 25-year-old like doing what he's doing, like we would like Anthony Edwards. He hasn't done any of that, but we seem to crown him.
Not even
we
close.
seem to crown him in a way that we don't with Luka.
And the other thing is, Zion has had a lot of issues with injury. It's because he's overweight. Yeah, among many other things. He's overweight, and his game is highly explosive. Luka's overweight and jumps 3 inches off the ground whenever he plays. And so the weight stuff shouldn't matter as much because of that.
We don't actually think he was 270.
I have no idea. No idea.
Jason,
he's 6'7". Like 6'7", 270 is not that alarming.
There's no way he was 270, man. That's a lie. Someone leaked that to try to get some favor. That's what I just saw him coming off the plane. That ain't no 270. Like they're literally lying. And it comes back to, I feel like Nico Harrison wanted a power play. He wants it to be about him. He wants the success to be about him. He doesn't care. Luka was competing with him essentially for that spotlight. So ship him out, slander him on the way out. He only got you relevance for the last couple of years. He only carried your team on his back for the last couple of years and accepted a volatile Kyrie Irving on his team, and shared the ball with him and only was a good sport there. Only dropped 60, 25, and 10 against the Knicks in a game like last year. Like, he's only doing all of these historically great things, and we just don't think he's in shape. Like, what are we doing?
The other thing that he said that I think is Nico Harrison, that he said that's really revealing.
Clown.
I'm assuming you heard the comment where he said, Jason Kidd and I are probably only going to be here for 3 or 4 more years, and then you're going to bury us or whatever.
He literally said he was going to die.
Yeah, and my thing is, like, I read this today. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But someone had made a comment about how Nico Harrison doesn't want to be a general manager for the next decade. And he only wants to be there another 3 or 4 years. Which, to be fair, I think investing in Luka short term is pretty great, but hey, what do I know?
Yeah.
And I'm very curious.
That would be a good starting point.
It would be. I agree. Especially when he just took you to an NBA Finals. But I'm very curious to know, like, if that's true, how much of a role did that play in this decision? It
Yeah.
shouldn't have played a role because you got Luka Doncic. I'd rather have him in his prime for the next 4 years than 31-year-old Anthony Davis. But hey,
And let's be honest, right? The Mavericks are going to be good with this trade. They're going to be a good team. This is going to help them. This is not going to make them any more of a contender than they were before, though.
I don't know. He had a 20-game stretch. Luka did. He played 20 straight games at one point this year, and they went 16-4. And the Thunder have problems with him, a lot of problems with him, and they're kind of the team to beat. I thought they were better with Luka. I think they got worse. Stephen A. Smith going on First Take and doing the ESPN thing where it's just a hot take where he says that they're going to be where he said that he's got them as the 1 seed is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Because yes, the defense is better, and I'm about to say something that comes off blasphemous, but please let me finish. Anthony Davis isn't Rudy Gobert. Like every defense Rudy Gobert has been on, it has been a top 10 or top 5 defense in the league, no matter who's around him. And as great of a defender as Anthony Davis is, he's not that good. And so, will the defense be better? Sure. But instead of picking on Luka, teams are going to pick on Kyrie Irving now. And but when Kyrie Irving tries, he's a really good defender. He's an okay defender. He's average. And so, and it just doesn't make sense. They got
We
worse.
also act like Anthony Davis isn't lazy himself. Like that's been my biggest gripe watching Anthony Davis in a Lakers tenure. It just feels like there's a lot of times, way too many times where it's lazy and there's no effort. And would you rather have a guy that's competing and is a dog but is a little overweight or out of shape, or would you rather want the guy that's physically gifted as hell but doesn't care or try and then has a game where he scores 12 points and has 8 rebounds when he should be a 28 and 11, 12 guy a night? Like that is another part of this that doesn't make sense. I have watched Anthony Davis. I'm a LeBron guy. We've said at the top. I'm a LeBron guy. I like watching the Lakers because I like LeBron. There are games where Anthony Davis looks like he does not care to be there. And I don't mean like he's just missing shots. I mean like he's not doing anything that he's supposed to do as the anchor of a defense, as the 1A, 1B option, and it's lazy. So we think we're getting all this extra stuff now with AD, but the same things that we talk about with Luka have been prevalent in Anthony Davis's career forever.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, I mean, has he ever been overweight? Because that seems really important.
They said he gained too much weight. I remember Bill Simmons and all those guys saying that he should lose weight. So we're literally having the same conversation about a guy that's 25.
Mm-hmm. Here's the other thing.
It blows my mind.
Here's the other thing with Anthony Davis that doesn't make any sense for Dallas. Anthony Davis is excited to be in Dallas because that means he gets to play power forward. Look, the NBA is all about space. You want as many shooters on the floor. You want to give your best players as much space to operate as possible. Anthony Davis playing the 4 with Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively playing center is no space. There's no space. They're going to look like the Cavaliers from 2 years ago when they got crushed by the Knicks in the first round because Evan Mobley hadn't learned how to shoot the ball yet. There's not going to be enough space. And sure, the defense is going to be – it's going to be better. Fantastic. But it's basketball. It's not defense ball. The goal is to put the ball in the basket. And they aren't going to do that well enough.
I would love a playoff matchup.
Oh, me too. I would still pull for the Mavs because
you're a Mavs fan. You're a Mavs fan. You're not a Nico Harrison fan.
I would cry. I would cry. Legitimately. Zach, I haven't told anybody this yet. When the trade came through and Shams did the quote tweet saying it was real, I almost cried. I was sitting down. I was just it was, 30 minutes past midnight or whatever. I was up till 2 a.m., Zach. I just stared at the ceiling.
I was just hands in your head.
Yeah. All that stuff. I felt like Drake.
All right. It's been Shooting the Schmidt. See you later.
Oh, man. I had, you made the DeAndre Jordan comment. Come on.
That's true. I did. That's on me.
You would have talked. Oh, wait. last thing. We haven't talked about the most important aspect of this trade yet. Jalen Hood-Schifino is about to become a star.
I actually really thought that was a good pick when they took him, but
hey man, go back and watch that Purdue game where he scores 35.
That was sick. I watched that
No.
game. That was cool. You're like, I believe in that guy.
That guy's gonna be good. No, he's not. It just goes to show, it's almost like finding really great players in the NBA is difficult. And it's almost like when you get one, you shouldn't give them away.
Or just get rid of them for an older, older person that's going to be 32, like you said, next month or something. That's what you want. You want to get older, actually.
Yeah, and if you do get rid of them, you only want one first-round pick.
Right.
And in fact, you actually want to give away a pick when you do it. You want to give. Yeah, that's the whole goal.
You have to be. It's all about ethics and morals when you're dealing with this kind of stuff. So you don't want to ask for too much. That would be a little rude.
It would be. It's exactly right. All right, the other trade that happened that we're going to touch on the Spurs.
Jordan McLaughlin, baby. Jordan McLaughlin.
Jordan McLaughlin, De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. The Kings get Zach LaVine, City Sissoko, 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and then congrats to the Bulls for getting Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and their own 2025 pick back.
That's sick. That's pretty big baller.
Yeah, big baller brand, baby. Good old Lonzo leading the charge.
The Kings have imploded.
They were a 3 seed 2 years ago.
I know, and they have just completely fell off a cliff.
Shout out Kevin Pritchard for winning that trade, and all you Kings fans who said that you won that trade by getting Sabonis, you were wrong. Sorry, just had to throw that in there because Kings fans were kind of annoying about that.
What direction is this franchise going in? They fire their coach. First off, they sign De'Aaron Fox to, I believe, a supermax, and now they're trading him.
I don't think it was a supermax, but it was for a max because he's never been all NBA, so I don't think he's eligible for it.
No, you're right. It's just a max.
Yeah, but no, dude, he's great. He's gonna be awesome down there. He wants to be there. The Spurs finally have a guy that demands the attention of the defense, not named Wembanyama. And so he's going to help them a ton. They now have, get this, they now have 2 guards. 2 guards who can consistently make a post entry pass, which is kind of important when you're playing with a guy who's 7'4".
That's true. People forget that.
They do. I read this other thing. Oh, go ahead.
How in the world does a De'Aaron Fox trade come up with 3 times the amount of first-round picks as a Luka Doncic trade? Sorry, I know we're moving on.
You're right. I'm glad you brought this up. The answer is because the Kings didn't give up Anthony Davis. That's the answer. Okay. You want to hear? You ready for my favorite? I wouldn't even call it nerdy. Let's call it attention to detail thing about this trade.
Sure.
De'Aaron Fox is left-handed. That is so important.
That is.
Because now, when Wemby sets that screen to De'Aaron Fox's left, his strong hand, and he makes that little pocket pass, Wemby's now going to the bucket with his strong hand, with the right hand. Small things matter. Small things matter,
and you do need a left. The scouting report is to get Wembanyama a left-handed point guard. That they've been saying that for a long time now.
But no, I'm excited for it, man. Like, I think that there's 2 things that need to be done when you have a generational talent. Someone like Wemby.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, close. I was actually going to say, like,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's actually helping me feel better. It's great. You have to, you should actually. So you said trade, which is the right path. You just usually trade 4 players to help your young guy. Right. So I don't know. Maybe the Mavs should have traded for, a vet in really good shape to help Luka. I don't know.
Klay Thompson. If the Mavs are getting rid of guys, why not?
Seriously.
You probably could have done a 1-for-1 Kevin Huerter for Klay Thompson. You probably could have.
Bring in the red rifle.
So, real quick, and I don't think the Kings. I think the Kings part is disgusting, obviously, but you're right. This I don't think the Bulls part is very interesting either. The Spurs.
It's disappointing. Now, they got nothing for Zach LaVine, who was having a pretty solid year.
Yeah, the Spurs now though, like, are they? I know we already know they're getting scary, but are they getting scary to the point where like they might be the next Thunder in a year or two?
They need one more piece. De'Aaron Fox is a good player. If he's your second best player, I don't know if you can win a title, but if he's your third best player, you can definitely win one. So I think they need one more. Maybe Devin Vassell, who's awesome, by the way. I don't know how much Spurs you've watched.
Yeah, he's great.
An absolute bucket getter. It's awesome. If he takes another step, maybe he's that guy.
How dare you act
sorry.
like I don't know who Devin Vassell is?
Sorry. Apologies. It's college basketball season, man. I know you're locked into all that. I just don't know how much time you have for Spurs Pistons.
I set aside every game. It's like Super Bowl Sunday.
Dude, it's Pistons, man. A lot of fun. Cade Cunningham. Okay, let's get back on.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted.
No, you're good.
I'm being goofy.
Like maybe Devin Vassell takes the next step. Maybe it's Stephon Castle, who's awesome, by the way. It's just so competitive. I think the thing that really helps them more than any other team is they can just kind of go get whoever. It doesn't matter how good they are defensively, because like you have Wembanyama, so you're going to be awesome on that side of the ball.
Yep.
Also, speaking of the Spurs, can someone explain to me why the Mavericks didn't call them and say, we want all your picks and Stephon Castle, and in return, we will give you Luka?
Makes no sense. It makes no sense why it wasn't shopped.
I had a general manager in the NBA call me to talk about this. And I threw that. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I threw that at him. I was like, why didn't they do this? And he's like, Jonathan, that's a way better idea. I was like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because you forfeit any and all chances at making a run at the NBA Finals as soon as you give him away. And just like that, we're back on Luka, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The Spurs are going to be better. I just don't think they're quite as deep as OKC yet, but in like 2 years, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think we did it.
We did. Okay, last thing. What are the chances we see Kevin Durant in a different jersey before Thursday?
I don't think so. I think it'd be cool.
So.
I think it'd be funny, but I don't think so.
I want to go back to Golden State. They'd actually be legitimately interesting at that point.
Would that work?
I think it would. Kevin Durant was that. You go.
I was just going to say, do you think like the Draymond thing is still that Kevin Durant doesn't feel like a guy that's just going to be like, oh, what's up, old pal? Like it feels like there's still some stuff there.
Yeah, but I do think that the basketball happiest Kevin Durant's ever been was playing with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think that if that's still there, then Kevin Durant will be okay. And look, it's not for long term. Like this is a short 2-year thing at most, it seems like. And I read today that like the Warriors may move Draymond Green to make this happen. And if that happens, then that problem's solved. Even though then defensively they've got a lot more issues, but
they're cooked, I think. Even if they get him, I don't think they would be very much. And I still think they would struggle to make the playoffs, even if they got him.
Yeah, they're just. I don't know, man. The idea of Steph and KD back together it would make me feel way better.
That start of the season they had is the only thing keeping that. They're 25-24. That start of the season where it was obvious that it wasn't going to be sustained. That's the only thing that's keeping them on February 4th in a semi-good-looking spot, but it's only getting worse.
Yeah, that's why they're really trying hard to bring somebody else in. Because like they clearly need to. Why Jimmy Butler doesn't want to go there, I have no idea. even though I will say in Golden State's best interest, I don't think I'd want him.
Right. You have to. You would have to give him assurances about a max, and that's going to be a weird situation, and we'll talk about it towards what if he gets traded in the offseason.
Yeah.
But it's very weird. That's going to be very weird. Like he's going to have to readjust his expectations.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Saturday night, do you want to do a video on the trade deadline?
Like the full trade deadline?
Just like everything after the Luka and Fox trade, if anything else happens.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down.
Cool. Sounds good. So that'll do it for the video. I'll probably have a solo trade deadline reaction out Thursday night. And then Zach will join me on Saturday because usually like I'm doing things as soon as they're done and my thoughts aren't super organized always. And so it's kind of nice to be able to come back and you can be like, Jonathan, I saw your other video. You're an idiot. And here's why.
Yeah,
and it's great.
Which I will do.
I need it sometimes. It's really important. Before we go, just real quick, Nico Harrison, you're the worst human being to ever walk the planet Earth. And I hope you get fired because what you did was absolute malpractice.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Man, I'll get through it. I'm going to see and what's going to make it so much worse is like, I hate the Lakers. Like always have. It's not like a LeBron thing. It's just like, they're the Yankees of baseball. Everything just kind of falls their way. Like they're going to go from Wilt Chamberlain to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to who's after Kareem to Shaq to trading for Kobe.
You forgot Magic Johnson.
Oh, you're right. Apologies, Magic. Actually, no, not apologies, Magic. His tweets have really upset me. I hate when he tweets. It drives me nuts.
Not very good.
Magic to Shaq to Kobe to LeBron. You know, they drafted one of these guys. That's it. And now my team, my dear Dallas Mavericks, are the next suckers in line to just hand the Lakers at least 2 more titles. Because Luka's winning at least 2. Yeah. I just hope he wins them after LeBron retires.
No.
I'm just kidding, Zach. Thanks for your time, man.
Thanks, brother.
See ya.